ग्लोबलाइजेशन एंड द इंडियन इकोनॉमी, वैश्वीकरण और भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था। Globalization, there is a concept that when something is made in, say, country 1 and it is being sent in different countries. So something is manufactured here and it goes here. But when we talk about globalization, there are certain things which comes up, and especially the MNCs, the multinational companies, will play a vital role. We'll understand the concept of globalization and what are the effects of the globalization on Indian economy. For that, we need to understand the market also. So this is a kind of market. See, some people are just selling it as street vendors, and there are different kind of stuff or product being sold in different shops, and these stuff or these product can be from any country. It can be from India, it can be from any other country. So our markets have transformed because of various reasons. The latest model of digital cameras, the mobile phones, the televisions, there are so many things are there in the market because we have a competition now. We are getting the content or the stuff from the Indian companies and also the brands of different companies from all over the world. When we talk about production across countries, let me take you to an example first. There is a large MNC. I'll talk about this MNC just now. It's multinational company. Multinational company, multi means more than one. Nation means country, and company which provides or which manufactures or which provides services. So a large MNC, it is producing an industrial equipment, designs it equipment in research centers in United States. So the first point is designing. It is done in United States. Then the components which are manufactured on this design are done in China. Then they are shipped to Mexico and Eastern Europe where they are assembled. Then the finished products are sold all over the world, and the company, when the customer buys it, so customer may have some problem or some issues or some guarantee related stuff, they may discuss it with the BPO, that is the customer care, and this customer care is located in India. So this is a call center which is in Bangalore, and it has all the latest telecommunication facilities, also the internet, to provide support to all over world customer of this MNC. So what do we get? What do we find with this discussion? First of all, US. The research is done in US. Then, on the basis of this research and design, the components are made in China. Then, they are shipped to Mexico and the Eastern Europe. Then, these are assembled here. And finally, the BPO, that is the customer care. Customer care is in India. Okay. Now this company is working, manufacturing and assembling in different countries. That is why we have a multi-nation theory. This is a multi-nation. So a same company is employing different places for its work. This company is an MNC. This is a multinational company. So the production is across countries. Only US is not producing or only China is not producing. The company is producing and doing all sorts of activities everywhere, every place, different, and it depends on the various favorable conditions. It may be labor, it may be the policies of the government. So until the middle of the 20th century, production was largely organized within the country. That is, if you say this country, the production will go here. Okay. Now colonies like India, we will export the raw material, foodstuff and imported finished goods, and trade was the main channel connecting the distant country like the China and India, etc. So this was done before large companies, that is the MNC corporation, multinational corporation or multinational companies, emerged on the scene. So what is an MNC? Again, it is a company that owns and control. So owns and control production in more than one nation. MNCs, they set up their offices, they set up their factories. So this MNC, whatever you say, the name is say X will have the offices and factories in China, in Mexico, etc. And the reason is, wherever they get cheap labor, wherever they get resources, cheap resources and availability of resources, any kind of sansadhan can be there. So for cheap labor and resources, and also the government policies they look after. So all these, if it is favorable, they will do it here. They will set up offices and factory. And that is why these MNC, they are not just selling, as I just initially told you, that MNCs are not just making it in US and just selling to China or Mexico or India. They are not just merely selling its finished products globally, but more importantly, the goods and the services, they are produced globally. Because of this, production is organized in an increasingly complex ways and good ways. So this is an example. The goods and services are produced globally. This is very important for MNC to understand that what is MNC. And the production is organized in increasingly complex ways. That is, different countries dealing with different offices of a same company, doing different stuff and employing the labor from that country, and also they're using the resources, having a key eye on the government policies, whether it is favorable to them or not. Now coming to interlinking production across countries. So in general, what we see, the MNCs set up production where it is very close to market. We just saw that the final assembling is done in Mexico and Eastern Europe. Why it is done? Because these places are quite near to the European countries, to America, right? So these places, that is, MNCs set up production only where they can sell it, that is close to the markets, where there is skilled and unskilled labor. Unskilled labor means those who only use their body to work. Skilled labor, that means they have some education, they have practice, they have all ITI, diploma, engineering, etc. These are called skilled labor. So wherever there are skilled and unskilled labor available at low cost, this is very important, at low cost, and where there is availability of factories of production. And if they are able to set up the factories properly with all the facilities provided by that nation government, then only MNC will set up a company or a production or services. So the money that is spent to buy assets. So say a company went to China, this company X went to China. Now here the money that is spent to buy assets, they have to buy a land, they have to buy a building, they have to buy a machine, they have to have various equipments, and this is the investment of this company X in China. So this is the company X, which may be belonging to US, and it is investing in land, building, machines and other equipment in China. The investment made by this MNC, that is X company, X MNC, is called the foreign investment. So the MNC is investing or doing foreign investment in China, in Mexico and Eastern Europe countries, and in other places which we saw, India, right? So the benefit of the local company, what if this company has to come to China? Say this company is from United States. Now this company, United States company, wants to come to China or say India, then the company cannot just come and just start its business, because the Chinese customs are different, the Indian customs and economy is different, various things, various factors are there. So the company cannot just come here. They can only come, or they will want to come with some company in China, some company in India. They will try to cooperate with them. So there has to be some local company for some joint production, right? So they have to have some, or this is the very good idea to have a local company. They join hand with this local company and they can now do the production and sell or manufacture. So the benefit of having a local company in a a place or in a country where the MNC is coming, the benefit is twofold. First is the MNC can provide money for additional investment, like all the land and the buying machines and for faster production. First is the additional investment the MNCs can do here in China and India, for example. And second, this MNC will come up with latest technology, state-of-art technology, modernized technology for production in China and India. So there are two benefits to Chinese and Indian economy when this MNC join hand with some of the company here. But what is the best route? The best route or the common route for an MNC to come to India and China and do or try to do the investment and the, you can say, produce a market here, right? The best thing is, why not to buy this company of this Chinese company? Why not to buy this Indian company? So this is the most common way to expand production. The most common route of MNC investment is coming here and buying this company, purchasing this company. And then this company is already set up here, and this company already knows the scenario. They have a network of say production and all the distribution, so this can be employed. Many of the MNCs, top MNCs, big MNCs, they are actually having more budget than the budget of some smaller country or developing country. So you can see the power of this MNC. Okay. Now we know that whether there are two possibilities. They can either join hands with this company or they can buy. So we have seen a lot of examples of this. For example, a company called Cargill Foods. This is a foreign company, US based company, and they have joined with the Parakh Foods of Indian company. So they have joined hand with Parakh Foods. This Parakh Food was already a brand in India for the oil, for eating oil or the cooking oil. Now when they come and they buy this company, they already get all the assets, etc. of this company, and they have already a brand name and they are selling already the cooking oil. So this Cargill Food will be benefited by this. So MNCs are exerting strong influence on production at these distance locations like India, China, etc. Because of this, production in these widely dispersed locations is getting interlinked. So now this MNC has interlinked China and India, right? So there is a kind of interlinking between China and India and the Eastern Europe. So this MNC is responsible for an interlinking between these different countries. So I'll just give you an example. Production in these widely dispersed locations is getting interlinked, which we just saw. So this is a pant or a jeans. This is produced in developing countries, and when it goes to USA, where the parent company is there, and this is sold for $6,500, that is $145, right? The production cost is not that much. It is being produced cheaply, say in around 3,000 rupees, and it is sold as say 6,500 rupees. So if you take all the cost, etc., even you get 2,000 or 2,000 or 1,500 of benefit on each of the jeans. So this is the benefit which MNCs are getting, and also it is providing the labor, it is providing the employment, it is providing the boon or boost to the local economy where it is working or where it is established. Also, if you see, most of the companies, they give very small product to be made by very small udyog or industry. See, if you see, these are the women at home in Ludhiana. They are sitting at their home and they are making footballs. They are just making footballs, and this football, when it is already being made, the MNC will take it and they will just put their brand name, and it will be sold at a higher price or at a good price with a good profit margin to all over the world. So now these women are also benefited. Foreign trade and integration of markets. Before that, I'll take you to one more example of this MNC. Ford Motors, it's an American company and one of the largest automobile manufacturers, and the production is spread across 26 countries. 26 countries. So this Ford Motor came to India in 1995, spent around 1,700 crores, and it set up a very huge plant in Chennai. And the combination or collaboration the Ford Motors did with Mahindra and Mahindra. Mahindra is also a giant. It's a major Indian manufacturer of jeeps and trucks. And by the year 2004, this Ford Motors was selling 27,000 cars in the Indian market. So MNC Ford combined with or collaborated with Mahindra and Mahindra. Mahindra was already established in India. So now they are selling 27,000. This is 2004 Ankara or statistics. Indian markets, while 24,000 it is exporting, 27,000 it is selling in India, 24,000 it is exporting from India to different countries like South Africa, Mexico, Brazil. Okay, so this is how the company wants to develop this Ford India as a component supplying base for its other plants across all over the globe, because it has more than 26 countries having the plant, having the manufacturing depot. So this is just a picture of cars made by Indian workers being transported to sold abroad MNCs, like abroad places like South Africa, Mexico and Brazil. Foreign trade and integration of markets. Foreign trade and integration of market, what does it mean? Foreign trade means if you have country 1 and country 2 and they are doing some trade, that is selling something here, buying something here, or ayat, niryat, import, export, all this comes under foreign trade. So foreign trade creates an opportunity for the producers to reach beyond the domestic market. Say if this is, again I'll take an example of India and China. Those who are producing here, India, they are local, but when they are going here and selling it, it will be, these producers are going beyond the domestic market. They are going beyond Indian market. That is the market of their own countries they are selling, but they are going to another market. This is the foreign trade. And how the integration of market is done? When you are producing it here and selling it, when the Chinese are producing here and selling it, so there is an integration of markets. For the buyers, what happens to the buyers? That is the Ubhokta or the consumers. The import of goods produced in another country is one way of expanding the choice of goods beyond what is domestically produced. That is, if say China is producing something, say khilona or toys. Now these toys are coming to India. Now Indian companies say this is toy from China, and Indian companies are producing, so this is toy from India. So now a customer, if the Chinese Chinese trade was not there, the Indian consumer will only have an option of Indian toys. But when the Chinese toys has come to India, this guy or this person has an option of two options, toy from China and toy from India. So now the options have increased for the Ubhokta or consumers also. So now opening of this trade between different countries, the goods or the products travel from one country to another, or you can say one market to another. So this is the foreign trade. It results in connecting the market, or you can say these markets are now interconnected, or there is an integration of markets of different countries. This is what I was trying to suggest, the Chinese toys in India. So what we will see here, that these are the Chinese toys in India, and what are the benefits and what may be the losses here. So Chinese manufacturer, they found an opportunity to export toys in India, where toys are sold at higher price. Indian toys were quite higher in the price. So they started exporting plastic toys to India. Now the buyers in India, the consumers in India, they have option. They have option of Indian toys and Chinese toys. And then when they are having the toys or availability of toys as cheaper and with good design, the Chinese toys became very popular in Indian markets. And within a year, 70 to 80% of the toy shops have now replaced Indian toys with the Chinese toys. Because toys, these are cheaper and they are of good quality also. So what is happening here? What situation which we see? First of all, because of this trade result toy, Chinese toys have already grabbed the Indian market. And there is a competition between Indian and Chinese toys now. Chinese toys are proving better. Now Indian buyers have a greater choice also. So there are different things you have to understand. For the Chinese toy makers, this provides an opportunity to expand business also. But the opposite for the Indian is that the opposite is true for Indian market. How? Because the Indian producers of the toy, they are facing losses. They have to sell the toys in a less price in order to be in the market, in order to be in competition with the Chinese toys. Now the question arises, what is globalization? Globalization, this word has come from globe. There are a number of countries in this world, around the globe. All these countries, when they are kind of integrated in terms of trade, in terms of transaction, in terms of ayat, niryat, import, export. So a large part of the foreign trade is controlled by MNC, as we have already seen, multinational corporations. And the result of this great foreign trade from one country to another and third country like this has been greater foreign trade. This greater integration of production and market across the countries has taken place. When there is lot of foreign trade, these countries also, they get kind of integrated because of the production is going on, because the market is here, or the production may not be here, but the market here is here. So there is a kind of integration, ekikaran. So globalization is the process of rapid integration or interconnection between the countries. Again, globalization is the process of rapid integration or interconnection between the countries. So these MNCs, again, they are playing a vital role, a major role in the globalization process, and this is only possible because of the companies going to different countries and opening their setups and industries and providing services. More and more goods and services, investment and technologies are moving between different countries. So globalization, again, let me tell you again, globalization is the process of rapid integration or interconnection between the countries, and more goods and services, investments and technology, they are moving between the countries. What factors or karak that have enabled the globalization? See, first of all, the factors that have enabled the globalization is, if you see here, I'll just give you an example. This is the containers for transport of good. Now the transport of material from one place to another, one country to another, can take place in no time using the surface transport, that means the ship or waterways, or it can be through the airlines. So now the time of transferring the stuff or goods from one place to another is not that much. So rapid development or improvement in technology is a factor, and that has a major impact or major factor that has actually stimulated or grown the globalization. For instance, in the past 50 years, there has been various improvement, as I just suggested, in the transportation technology. Previously, the transportation was quite trivial. Now the transportation of goods and services are quite faster because of all the thanks to the technological improvement or transportation technological improvement. And also this ICT, this is very important. This has an impact. Even more remarkable, a factor for the development of the globalization is ICT, that is information and communication technology. So technologies in the area of telecommunication, the computers, the internet have been changing rapidly. Now we have 4G, we are going to 5G. So the data, the services, the communication is quite easy, and the communication between different countries can be done using the satellite. So satellite is also a very important, say, a technological development that has actually made this world like a family. Everyone can talk, everyone can see, the trading can be done easily. So these are the factors that have enabled the globalization. So the information and technology, communication technology, as I just suggested, ICT, computer, electronics, everything is now, you can talk, like you can just send email to anyone. All the content you can talk, within no time it can be sent, just a press of button. Then you can have a voicemail, you can have a WhatsApp call, you can have a Skype call. All these are only possible because of the ICT this information and communication technology. I will just give you a simple example that you understand what I spoke with an example. See, there is a news magazine published for London. This is published for London and London readers, and it is designed and printed in New Delhi, in Delhi. So the text of the magazine is sent from London to Delhi office. The designer here at the Indian office or Delhi office get orders on how it needs to be designed, the magazine, from the London officials, and this is all done through telecommunication facilities. And the designing is done on the computer here. The computer, again an ICT, and after the printing has been done, the magazine, when it is prepared, when it is created, it is sent to London using the airways, that is through the airlines, right? And the amount being paid from London to India is just by a click of the button, that is internet banking or e-banking. So you have now seen the usage of ICT, that as a magazine which is to be sent to London is being published here without any problem, because all the ICT technologies. Now when you have a small kid in your house, what do? Whenever you go outside, you lock the door properly, okay? You keep someone with him. That is, you restrict certain things so that anything bad should not happen to your kid or anybody else, You keep restrictions. You have all the restrictions. Now, here, what happens is when your kid grows older, you liberalize. You can say the restrictions you have used, you try to unstrengthen them. This is the liberalization. And when it comes to trade, liberalization of foreign trade and foreign investment policy says what? The tax, whenever someone is coming, say this is country 1, this is country 2, whenever someone is coming in your country, say this is India, someone is coming, tax on the imports is an example of a barrier which you placed for your kid. That is a trade barrier. This is called a barrier because it is a restriction. You are restricting someone. So if someone comes to your country trying to do trade, and if you put restriction of the tax on the imports, this is a restriction, avrodhak. So the government can use this avrodhak or barriers to increase or decrease the foreign trade. If the government doesn't want something to come or to be imported, it will impose heavy duty, heavy tax. And if it does want the content to come or the import to come, it will just, you can say, ease out the restriction or ease out the tax, right? So what kind of goods should come, what shouldn't come, the tax can be employed on them. The Indian government, when we've got independence, has some barrier here. India has a lot of barriers, and this was quite necessary because India just got independence. There were producers in India, they wanted to, everyone was just starting. So within the country, there shouldn't be any foreign competition, because if the foreign competition is there, the indigenous producers, indigenous industrialists, indigenous workers, they will be faced with unnecessary competition. So it became very important to seclude the government, like your father has secluded you. Similarly, the India was secluded or restricted from the foreign trade, and this was necessary at that time. Now, 1991, there was a liberalization. 1950s, 1960s, it started, means all the restriction, etc. Only the important item like machinery, fertilizers and petroleum were only imported. But starting in 1991, the liberalization started. The government now thought that now our industrialists and the producers, now they are ready to face the world. So barrier to foreign trade and foreign investment was removed to a large extent, or you can say the barriers were eased out. That means that goods now can be imported from another country and exported also to the foreign companies. The companies can come here, set up their offices here, set up their karyalay and factories. So removing these barriers and restrictions set by the government is called as liberalization. Again, removing barriers or restrictions set by the government is what is called the liberalization, right? So tax and imports is a trade barrier. When we ease out the tax on the imports or exports, then we say the trade barrier is eased out or removed. So removing this barrier and restriction is liberalization. Now the government imposes much less restriction than before, and it is therefore called as liberal government. And the liberal government, when you have a liberal government, the people, the industrialists, the MNCs can come to your country. Now they have to face less kind of paperwork, less tax. So now they are ready to help your economy by industries establishment, by institutional obligation, and providing employment to the people out here. Coming to World Trade Organization, which is called as WTO. So we have seen that the liberalization of foreign trade and investment in India was supported by some very powerful international organizations. And these organizations say that all the foreign trade and the foreign investment are quite harmful. Like the countries which are already developed, they find it is very difficult for them to come to India or the countries like India to actually do the foreign investment and to work here. So WTO, this trade organization, Vishwa Vyapar Sangathan, is one such organization whose main aim is to liberalize the international trade. Now WTO is working to liberalize the foreign trade for all the countries around the world. But the reality is, that is, WTO is supposed to allow free trade for everyone, one country to another country. But in practice, because this WTO was established, or you can say the founding members were the developed countries already. So they were developed countries. Now these developed countries has unfairly retained trade barriers. That is, say United States. Say United States had already kept the barrier, and now these countries want India and other countries, developing countries, to ease out the barriers. That means they can easily come and do the trade here, but those people who want or the industrialists, or those you can say the MNCs, they want to go here and work, the barriers are still there. So this is you need to know. So what is the impact of globalization in India? It is everything has a good or a bad, right? So what is the impact of globalization in India? And you can just say it for any other country which is developing country. It can be any developing country. So in the last few years, 20 years, globalization of Indian economy has came a long way, and the globalization, and there is a greater competition among the producers. Globalization means if this is your country, the other country product can come here. Now you have to face the indigenous people, have to face the competition from others. So globalization and greater competition among the producers, both this is local and this is the foreign one. So both local and foreign producers have been advantage for consumers, because now consumers, as we saw about the toys, that China and India both are having the toys in Indian market, and the consumers can take any of them. So they have all the possibilities, options. That is, anyone can take. But what we have seen actually is the well-off situation, the urban people, the people living in the urban area and who are well-off, they are rich, quite rich. The you can say upper middle and rich class. So these people today, they actually enjoy the higher standards of living that was not very possible earlier. So MNCs has increased their investment in India, as we see, over past few years, namely 20 to 30 years, which means investing in India is quite beneficial for them. So several of the top Indian companies, they have also been benefited from the increased competition, because they have become a part of that MNCs, or they are having, say, collective work with the coming industries. And globalization has enabled some large Indian companies to emerge as MNCs themselves. So there are companies in India who has emerged as MNCs because of this globalization. Now these MNCs, a country say we have Reliance, we have Mahindra and Mahindra, we have, say, Adani Group. Now they have all the other countries where they are they have established industries and they are working. Okay, various countries, their establishment is there. So Indian companies have benefited from this globalization. So globalization has created new opportunities for companies providing services also, particularly IT. India, especially the places like Hyderabad, the Bangalore, the Punes and the Gurgaon and Noidas, they have become the actual IT hub. So now they are providing a lot to Indian economy. So we have to understand that. I'll just share a kind of story. So now we are ready to invest. So this guy is saying why we are interested to work here. See, in order to attract the foreign trade, foreign companies, the various countries like India, they establish Indian special industrial zones, and these are called as special economic zones, SEZs. Now these SEZs are well equipped, world class, with all the facilities of electricity, water, roads, transport, storage, recreation and educational facilities. And for 5 years, if a company is coming, they don't have to pay any tax. So this kind of flexibility, this kind of opportunities which are given to the foreign companies, this will allow them to come, and in very short period, because they need labor, and labor will come from the Indian society only. They want some resources, and resources will come from the Indian economy only. And also the labor laws can be made flexible so that these people can actually hire them, and the most important part, which is not very fortunate, is fire them. So there is a rising competition, especially for those who are not the MNCs of India, or you can say the small producers, those who are just making small stuff like the MSME, right? MSME, and those who are not very large producing companies, or which are very small producers or small you can say the companies, they have faced immense competition because of the MNCs and the Indian origin companies which have actually overtook the market. So this is how the things are taking shape. So this is a, you can say, a disadvantage of globalization. So if we have seen about the toys, that these toys are coming from China, and Indian customers are going for the Chinese toys, and the Indian producers, they are not able to sell their product because they are not able to produce like that, right? So various people are getting jobless, and especially those in the organized as well as unorganized, especially in unorganized sector. So here is an example of how this competition, because of the MNCs and because of the different companies coming to the developed from the developed country to the developing country, and how they are in cheap rate, in a very very good manner, good quality, they are providing to the consumers of that country. So when it is giving you in less price and in good quality, the people are going to buy Levi's, they are going to buy Adidas, they are not going to buy the indigenous product. So this is how the garment worker and various other people who are facing the competition are losing jobs, and a lot of different small scale industries are on the verge of closing. So there is a struggle for a fair globalization. That means when the globalization is happening, some people are getting all of the profit. Some people are not getting the profit share. So the struggle for a fair globalization is always good. But there has to be a fair, justified globalization. So people with educational skill who have learned, who have done their engineering, medical, etc., and they are having wealth, they have made the best use of these new opportunities which have grown up or come up because of the globalization. But if you see, on the other hand, there are various people who have not shared the benefits, who are not getting the benefits. So we need to have fair globalization. So this fair globalization would create opportunities for everyone, every single person who is marginalized also, and also will ensure that the benefits of globalization are shared better among everyone. So now the government has to play a role. Its policies must protect the interest not only for rich, because they are getting it, and the powerful, but also who are not getting it, that is all people in the country. So it can support small producers to improve their performance, because as we see, because of the globalization and increased competition, the various industries, small scale industries and small projects, they are just finishing up or vanishing, or they are on the verge of closing. So the government has to support this producer to improve their performance till the time they become more stronger enough to compete the competition. So it is necessary the government can use the trade barriers. And in past few years, massive campaigns and representatives by the people organization have influenced various decisions relating to trade and investment at the WTO, World Trade Organization, because everyone has to see the WTO that they should work in the favor of the developed country also, not only in the favor of developed country. So this has demonstrated that people also can play an important role in the struggle for globalization, especially fair globalization. So this is the justice they are asking for. So what we have seen in this discussion is that globalization especially started with the MNC, multinational companies. Multinational companies are those companies who have established, who have offices, who have industries or services not only in one country but more than one country. So because of this, the technology, particularly IT and various other technological development, has increased the scope of the globalization. And then we talked about the liberalization in India. It took place from 1991, and because the barriers have been eased, now there is greater level of interaction between the countries and the import and export. Now WTO is an organization which has all the possibility of restricting or imposing the barrier. So it is specially saying that the less barrier it is, less good the transaction or the foreign trade and foreign investment will be there. And the basic thing is, because of the various competition going on there, the developed country is facing a kind of tough competition, and there is not a justified output from the globalization. So everyone has to get equal share, and the government and the WTO and everyone, one of us has to work for that.